love of God! Please! Damn! Damn! Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Here we are, a new Evil Dead film hitting theaters for the first time in 10 years, or at the time of this review, it's on streaming, but it was in theaters for the first time in 10 years. And while the 2013 entry had a mixed reception to it, and for good reason, because some of the moments in that film was a bit head scratching.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Why don't you come down here so I can suck your cock, pretty boy?
I enjoyed 2013's Evil Dead quite a bit, despite its flaws. So when the trailer for Rise came out, I was a little curious, but I didn't see myself rushing to the theaters to go see this film like opening night or anything. So I didn't see Evil Dead Rise in theaters. However, over the next couple months, I saw the reviews for it giving it high praise and proclaiming it to be the best film in the series since the OG films. And me being an Evil Dead fan, I figured, well, it's dropping on Max recently, let me go and watch it, sit down and see if the hype is worth it. And after giving it a viewing, I can say that Evil Dead Rise is a fun and entertaining watch. This felt like a return to form to the original roots of the series, and that made it much more interesting to watch. Some of the aspects of the film that I enjoyed would be the effects, particularly the gore and blood, the horror, and the performances. To start, the effects in the film were great. Seeing that they used practical effects for the majority of the film to keep in touch with the spirit of Evil Dead, because the Evil Dead series is known for using practical effects, not really using a lot of CGI, it made it much more authentic and convincing to see like it in action. It's really good. It makes a lot of the gore and violence much more impactful in those scenes that they use it. And also almost using 6,500 liters of fake blood. I think that was a good choice for the blood effects instead of CGI, because imagine if you had CGI blood, seeing all that red cranberry fake blood juice was magnifico. Next up is the horror. The horror elements were quite effective in this film at making you both scared and unnerved. And bonus points on not using a lot of jump scares to have as like a crutch for the horror, because a lot of modern horror movies, they kind of just use the loud bang or the bleh noise, and like, I'm not saying jump scares aren't effective as hearing this, but if you want to go for true horror, use the building up to the horror. You can use jump scares, but when you rely on your film just having jump scares, then that's not making it an effective horror movie. You're just startling it. With Evil Dead Rise, they actually have a good sense of building up the horror with a lot of the scares. There are some jump scares, but it builds the horror and lets the audience see the build up and then the scare, which makes it much more effective to watch as a horror fan. And lastly, the characters are pretty fun to watch. I enjoyed Beth as the main lead and how she had an arc with her character throughout the film. I'm not going to spoil what her arc is, but let's just say she goes from someone, you know, they don't see themselves as a parent and they have to pretty much take care of her sister who's possessed, kids, to keep them safe, and it grows her into an arc becoming a protector and guardian. And I think that makes her character have a little bit more depth to her, because she could have easily been like, yeah, now I'm going to be the same. And she actually goes to an arc, which is actually pretty good for that. And she had great chemistry with she had great chemistry with everyone, from the sister to the kids. It was just really sweet and heartbreaking just to see that chemistry play out through the events of the film and what happens. It gets really sad, but it's still like really good to make you draw you into the fact like, oh my gosh, no, don't happen, please, no. However, I'll say that there's only one negative about Evil Dead Rise that I have, and that would be the writing was sometimes a bit spotty. Some of the writing choices seem to just happen for just convenience or forwarding the plot. Sometimes the characters do stuff that seem very out of left field in the sake of tension and, again, forwarding of the plot. Like, there's just moments where characters, they're perceived earlier as cool-headed, level-headed, like, hey, okay, let's just see this, and then they just end up doing stuff that's just like really dumb. Like, it turns into like Cabin in the Woods territory of just dumb decisions sometimes, but it doesn't happen a lot. But there's moments where I'm like, that happened for the sake and convenience of the plot. But, you know, it's a lot of the writing has its moments of head-scratchingly like dumb decisions that will leave you speechless, and I think that's the only negative I'll give with Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise was released on April 21st, 2023 on a budget ranging between $15 and $19 million. After its run at the box office, it will go on to gross $146.3 million. Overall, Evil Dead Rise is a fun horror film to pop on during the spooky season or anytime whenever you watch horror movies, you know? If you're a fan of the series, give Rise a watch and be excited that the Evil Dead franchise is back and probably getting another movie soon because this did well critically, and going along with the $146.3 million, it is now the highest grossing film in the entire series. So we're getting more of these movies, and I can't be further, well, I'm excited. I want to see what comes next from Evil Dead again. So I'm going to give Evil Dead Rise an 8 out of 10. So let me know down in the comments below, did you see Evil Dead Rise? What's your favorite Evil Dead movie, and what do you want to see next from the series? Until next time, I've been Mac from Mac Movie Reviews. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
This is fun! Hello!